Yun Xiaoxiao was knocked unconscious by her phone and traveled to an era as a female supporting character. The original owner abandoned his husband and son in order to return to the city, and was accidentally killed by a domestic violence man. Yun Xiaoxiao, who was passing by, held the golden finger shopping app and bought whatever was missing, raising the two little ones to be fair and chubby. But when she wanted to divorce the male lead and live a beautiful life, the male lead surprisingly refused. Male lead. Wife, I will make you live a good life. Debeo. Mom, I will be filial to you well. Xiao Bao. Mom, don't leave us behind. I can be cute. The father and son pretended to be pitiful and wanted to keep her who had traveled through time. Retreat, 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 you are the female lead, not my supporting actress. Key words of the novel. Shopping app in hand. Women in this win thoroughly, no pop-up window, shopping app in hand. Women in this win thoroughly, download the complete works of TXT, shopping app in hand. Women in this win thoroughly, read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Stunned by a mobile phone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Stunned by a mobile phone. Brother, is mom dead? A 2 or 3 year old black skinny boy pulled at a boy about 3 or 4 years old, his face full of confusion. Mom hasn't opened the door for 2 days now. They've been going to eat at their grandparents' house these past few days. 2 children are wearing patched clothes. I don't know. The big one finally forced himself to the door of his mother's room, knocked, and hurried to take his brother to hide. A pair of bright big eyes had been staring at which door, waiting for the people inside to open the door, but afraid that the people inside would come out and hit them. After waiting for a long time, there was still no movement at that door. Brother, I'm hungry. The little boy looked pitifully at the older boy and touched his stomach. They dare not go to their grandparents' house to eat again, and their cousins beat them up, saying they are beggars. I'll knock on the door again. The older boy walked over with a bold expression and knocked on the door with his little hand, but after knocking a few times, there was still no movement inside. He tentatively shouted, Mom! Mom! The little boy eagerly watched this scene, waiting for his mother to come out. Even if he hit them, at least there was something to eat. Yun Xiao smiled faintly as she heard someone knocking on the door and talking, and her pretty face instinctively wrinkled. I worked overtime until midnight last night, and today is the weekend again. I plan to sleep until I wake up naturally before going to the company again. Who is knocking on her door? Without opening his eyes, he reached out to touch his phone, intending to see the exact time. But at this glance, she was immediately startled. She vaguely saw the time on her phone, which was already in the afternoon. It's terrible, it's terrible. Hurry up and go to the company again. But as soon as she sat up, she felt something was wrong. Nowadays, almost everyone sleeps on mattresses, but she felt a hard board underneath her, and there was something strange in her sight. There was a big box across from her, and when she looked around, she stood up in shock, almost screaming out loud. Where is this? What about her big house? Her smart furniture? How did it disappear? She must be dreaming, she must be dreaming. She worked overtime yesterday and became confused. It must be like this. But the knocking sound outside the door continued, and there were soft shouts coming from the sound, Mom, Mom. Yun Xiaoxiao had not yet regained her senses from why she came here, and when she heard the sound outside the door, her mind was burning with smoke. Mom! When did she become a mother? Seems like being a mother is still painless. Did she get kidnapped? And then he lost his memory. Thinking of this possibility, Yun Xiaoxiao took a deep breath and wanted to get up to see the situation outside. She wanted to escape back to the big city and meet her parents. I thought of the fate of those abducted women being rescued in my mind. I was ready to get out of bed, and my legs seemed to lose strength in an instant, almost collapsing on the ground. The older boy who knocked on the door outside breathed a sigh of relief when he heard the commotion inside. He was afraid that the people inside would run out and hit them, so he quickly grabbed his hungry brother and ran into their small room, extending his head to continue looking at the door. Weak. Are you so hungry? Seeing her phone in bed, she took it out and asked to locate where it was and call the police. Nowadays, smartphones are generally able to locate, but at first glance, I am amazed. There is a signal, but I cannot locate the location. She now remembers going home after work last night. P.S. New books for recommendation and collection. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. She dressed up as a supporting actress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. She dressed up as a supporting actress. Her mother sent her a voice message on a certain letter. As soon as she drove home, she listened and lay on the comfortable sofa. It came that her mother, Miss Fan, mentioned her cousin's full moon and urged her to get married. She then clicked on the link her mother, Miss Fan, sent her to cut the knife. She then clicked on Pinksy She to help her cut the knife, but the phone in her hand slipped and fell directly on her face. When she fainted, she was still thinking, you can't lie down and play with your phone, and you'll fall into darkness. She can't just be smashed to death by her phone, can she? Mobile phone, mobile phone. Xiaoxiao immediately checked the Pinksy She software and was able to open it directly, but as soon as she opened it, her mind suddenly seemed to be filled with many images, causing her face to distort. It took a long time to slowly absorb. Has she traveled? Xiaoxiao has already passed the age of dreaming. But she never expected that one day she would truly travel. Nowadays, time travel novels are everywhere on the internet, and she wears them in a book called Sweetheart Stepmother in the 1980s. The owner of this body is a female supporting character, also known as Xiaoxiao, who is afraid of hardship and marries the youngest son of the captain. This is the kind of ex-wife female supporting character who, like the male lead, is making a fuss and wants to return to the city, abandoning her husband and children. Because she didn't get into college, she went back to her parents' house, blaming her parents for favoritism, blaming her siblings for being bad to her, always eating and lazy, and the sister-in-law couldn't bear it. In the end, they married her far away, but she married a seemingly honest man who was actually a domestic violence man behind her back. If she didn't go well, she would beat her, and if she wanted to escape, she couldn't escape. When he learned that his ex-husband had become a wealthy man and planned to shamelessly come knocking on his door, he was dragged back by a domestic violence man and accidentally killed when he learned that his female partner wanted to escape him. This made Xiaoxiao look completely dumbfounded. She is now dressed as the male lead's masterpiece and the female supporting character who was ultimately beaten to death. Does it seem like she's dressed up in the scene where the supporting actress wants to leave her child and flee back to the city? What should we do now? It seems like the college entrance examination has been resumed. The plot is quite extensive. The male lead is not a scoundrel who works tirelessly in the eyes of the members. Before the reform and opening up, the male protagonist had to rely on his brain to make money, otherwise he wouldn't be able to build this brick and tile house. After getting married and having children, she plans to temporarily not sneak into this dangerous job. However, after resuming the college entrance examination, the female lead is determined to return to the city. I didn't pass the exam twice, and the female lead's heart twisted. The male lead was at home, cursing him and her child every day. No matter how much the male lead guarantees, he will definitely let the female lead a good life, but the female lead doesn't believe it. This time the male lead left, there was also a brother who said he had a big business coming to him. The male lead wants to earn a lot of money and takes his wife and children to live in the city. If it weren't for her wearing it, in a few days, the female lead would have left her 2 children and returned to the city. The 2 children also had a high fever due to the female lead's departure, and the younger one couldn't hear her anymore. Therefore, the male lead finally let go of the female lead and divorced her, allowing her to return to the city. Later, Due to rumors, the male lead ruthlessly took his 2 children to live in another city. He met the female lead who had graduated from college, and because of their work relationship, the two gradually developed feelings. The female protagonist also gave birth to a precious daughter to the male protagonist. The family of 5 lived a very happy life, and the 3 men in the male protagonist's family doted on the female protagonist and the 2 daughters. Now she's dressed as a supporting actress. Escape from the plot. Take good care of the 2 children of the female lead, and discuss divorce after the male lead returns. After all, the male lead is the female lead. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Her Current Golden Finger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Her Current Golden Finger. After thinking about this, Xiaoxiao breathed a sigh of relief. Her gaze fell on the phone again. Why did this phone travel with her? Is it her current golden finger? Can I buy something? Xiaoxiao plans to give it a try, but now she's so hungry. Buy a bread first and try it out. She is a person from the 21st century, and her payments are all made through Alipay and Alipay, which are also linked to bank cards. She graduated from a 211 university and rose from a young employee to the position of director. Of course, during this period, she did not talk to anyone. Her parents are employees of state-owned enterprises. Her mother, Ms. Fan, has already retired, and her father will also retire in a few years. She is also considered a second generation and an only child. I also bought a car and a house in the city where I work through my own efforts, and my parents also provided support for most of it. She was able to live a high-pressure life without having to bear a mortgage or car loan. Xiaoxiao felt that she was so hungry now that she could eat a cow. Afraid of only having one chance, I bought a box of bread, paid with my fingerprint, and a successful payment screen popped up, which made Xiaoxiao dumbfounded. Can payment be made? That means she didn't have to starve to death in the 1980s. This was completely beyond her expectations. No, the item has not been received yet. My hungry brain is spinning slowly. But when a package suddenly appeared at a distance of 1 meter from her, it refreshed Xiaoxiao's understanding. Is it bread? She didn't pay attention just now. How did this package come out? She reached out and grabbed the package, tore open the box, revealing the bread inside. It was the bread. Really, now this phone has become her golden finger. You can't keep gnawing on bread, there's some dryness. So what kind of beverage was it in the 1980s? Should I buy pure milk instead? As Xiaoxiao was gnawing on bread and milk, there were knocking and shouting outside the door. She just heard that the female lead has 2 sons, the older one is almost 5 years old and the younger one is over 2 years old. I don't know how long the female partner slept. Are these 2 little ones probably hungry? The big boy, seeing Xiaoxiao's mother still motionless, was really afraid that Xiaoxiao's mother would have an accident, and he came to shout out worried. After eating and drinking enough, Xiaoxiao finally gained strength. Pack up the bread and milk on the bed before going to open the door. Dabao. The big boy's name is Dabao. As soon as he saw Xiaoxiao come to open the door, he was frightened and ran quickly towards the room where the 2 brothers were staying. He even slammed the door tightly, causing Xiaoxiao's mouth to twitch a few times. She looks very scary. She has a loud voice. Although she hasn't gotten married yet and had children, the children still love her very much. Xiaoxiao attended a university where she was good-looking and generous. Her nieces and nephews all particularly liked her. Brother, I'm so hungry. The little boy called Xiaobao and touched his stomach, feeling extremely hungry. It seemed like he hadn't even eaten breakfast, and now it's past lunch time. Xiaoxiao came into the house and took out bread and milk. This bread can be said to have been bought from the town supply and marketing cooperative, but this milk has a packaging box, and she can say it's made from milk powder. Let's eat now, Xiaoxiao shouted towards the child's room. Xiaobao wants to open the door and go out, he's so hungry. But being pulled by his brother Dabao, he was not allowed to go out. Brother, I smell the fragrance. Dabao looked at his younger brother, his eyes turning very quickly. Don't go out, I'll go out and get some food, he said. He is older, and even when his mother hits him, it doesn't hurt as much. But my younger brother is younger, it hurts even more. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Two little ones go out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Two little ones go out. Xiaobao wanted to say something more when his brother who had gone out brought him to his door. Although Dabao went out, he still cautiously went to the main room and stood at the door without entering directly. Dabao, why are you alone? When Xiaoxiao saw Dabao, he was still stunned for a while. Now that the autumn harvest was over, the male lead would go out to earn money. But the child in front of me is not like a 5-year-old child, but rather like a child around 3 or 4 years old. His face is thin and his eyes are very obvious, and his small face is also dirty. He is wearing patched clothes and is gray, with a pair of perforated shoes on his feet, and his toes are exposed in front of the cloth shoes. Is this too thin? Dabao's height can only see the plates on the table, but he can't see what dishes are inside the plates. Mom, Dabao timidly shouted, his eyes fixed on the table, and the fragrance wafted out, making him desperately swallow saliva. Call on Xiaobao to come and eat together, Xiaoxiao said with a soft voice, squeezing out a smile. Dabao doesn't want to call his younger brother. Can see his mother smiled at him, but also so gentle to talk to him. His mother has not been so gentle for a long time. Dad is at home and they can still have food, but when Dad is not at home, Mom sometimes doesn't cook. Although Dabao is only 5 years old, he can already stand on a small stool and cook for himself. The food in the kitchen was locked by his mother, so he didn't dare to knock on the lock for fear of being beaten. Take my younger brother into the mountain to find food and go to my grandparents' house for dinner. Hurry up and shout, I won't hit you. Xiaoxiao saw his timid little appearance. She had those memories and knew that the female partner would hit the child. The child instinctively became wary and timid when she saw her. No fighting. Dabao is hesitating whether to call his younger brother or not. Don't shout for your younger brother to come over for dinner, and you're afraid that Mom will lock up the food later, and they'll be starving all day. I'll go call Xiaobao. Dabao bit his little lips and turned to call out to his younger brother. At best, when his mother hits his younger brother, he will be beaten for him. Dabao's movements were quite fast, pulling Xiaobao towards the main hall. Xiaoxiao also saw Xiaobao, like a 2-year-old child, thin and looking big with a small body, still wearing patched clothes, with a pair of perforated shoes on his feet and a dirty little face. I wanted them to wash their hands before coming over for dinner, but before the two little ones walked into the table, their stomachs began to growl. Mom, Xiaobao was particularly afraid of Xiaoxiao. Before the resumption of the college entrance examination, the female lead was still a virtuous mother, but when the exam was resumed and she did not pass, the female lead changed. Come and have a meal first, make do with it and eat a little bit, Xiaoxiao sighed deeply. She was somewhat fortunate, but fortunately the female lead was not that messy, and the house was relatively tidy. But when they climbed onto the stool, they saw the milk in the small bowl, which had a strong milk aroma. I'll make you some delicious food tonight, including the milk powder I made for you and the pastries I bought in town before. Xiaoxiao is a bit awkward, her cooking skills can only be considered average. The two little ones are willing to go out of their way and choose between being beaten and being full, choosing to eat first and then be beaten. When you take the first sip of milk, you feel it smells good, and when you take another sip, you feel the milk flavor is full. Dabao used to drink malt extract. When my mother gave birth to my younger brother, my father bought a can of milk powder and he tried it along with me. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. She dressed up as a supporting actress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. She dressed up as a supporting actress. This is chicken cake, you can eat it one bite at a time with a sip of milk. Otherwise, I will only drink milk and not eat bread. Eating bread later will make it very dry. The two little ones reached out to take the bread from the plate, glanced at Xiaoxiao, and then lowered their heads to take a bite. How does it taste? Bao, who was probing, spoke up first and said, "It's very delicious. I'm afraid Mom will hit them again because of one sentence from them. Let's eat." Xiaoxiao got up and went to the kitchen. It took a lot of effort to heat up the milk just now. As an only child in the family born in the 1990s, Xiaoxiao rarely cooks. These days, he uses natural gas and only sees the use of firewood stoves when eating firewood turkeys. This place is not yet electrified, so if you want to drink water, you have to boil it yourself. Brother, Mom didn't hit us. Xiao took a bite of the fragrant and sweet bread, and then drank a sip of the fragrant and sweet milk, whispering to Bao beside him. Even Bao thinks his mother is strange today. How can we give them such delicious chicken cake and give them milk powder? How strange. Is Mom planning to leave them and go back to the city? My aunt told them before that your mother is going back to the city and she doesn't want you anymore. Let's eat quickly. Bao doesn't care about these for now. Dad is not at home. In a half-brick house not far from this tiled house, there is a middle-aged woman who looks almost 50 years old. Her two grandchildren didn't come over for dinner today. Didn't the daughter-in-law see it either? There won't be any trouble, will there? She couldn't sit still anymore, closed the door, and went to take a look. She also knew that the daughter-in-law wanted to return to the city. This is Bao's grandmother, the wife of the captain. Arriving at my youngest son's house, I was about to knock on the door, but it easily pushed open. Bao and Xiao have finished their bread and milk, and Bao plans to take the bowls to the kitchen for washing. Big treasure, small treasure. The two little ones heard Grandma's voice and suddenly looked up. Grandma. As Zhao's mother watched her two grandsons holding bowls, she was taken aback by the thought that they were only eating at this moment. I want to shout at my daughter-in-law, but I'm afraid she'll go crazy. Xiaoxiao, who was boiling hot water in the kitchen, was stunned when she heard the sound in the yard. The mother-in-law of the female supporting role. No, she is now her nominal mother-in-law. Who made her dress up as a supporting actress. Should we go out or not? Not to mention being a painless mother, there are also many messy relatives. I still won't go out, just pretend to be dead in the kitchen. Grandma, I'll take the bowl to the kitchen first. Bao suddenly became bold. With Grandma around, his mother still didn't dare to hit them. Now he and his younger brother are already full. Go. Zhao's mother then looked into the kitchen, where there was a faint figure inside, definitely her daughter-in-law. Zhao's mother held Xiaobao's hand and saw that he had some dirt on his hands and face, but there was a sweet smell on his body. This was made from malt milk for the two brothers to drink. Bao put the bowl on the chopping board and ran out of the kitchen like a sprint, afraid that Xiaoxiao, who was afraid of setting fire, would give him a beating. Watching Xiaoxiao's mouth twitch fiercely, she is not a supporting actress and won't hit children for no reason. Unless it's a bare child. What did you have for lunch? Zhao's mother asked when she saw Bao also coming over. After this autumn harvest, my youngest son left home, and my daughter-in-law has rarely worked in the fields since marrying into their Zhao family. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The female supporting team plays. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The female supporting team plays. Milk powder, chicken cake. What? No cooking. No stir-fried dishes. Milk powder. Chicken cake. Grandma, the egg cake is delicious. I'm so full, Xiaoxiao said as he touched his belly. When he was full, he stopped being hungry. That's good, your mother didn't cook for you, so she came to Grandma's house. Zhao's mother didn't dare to stay too long, afraid that her daughter-in-law would cause trouble. She also had to go to her own plot to work hard. Okay. De Bao didn't say anything, but his cousins told them to go less, otherwise they would hit them again. Grandma has left. At first, Yun Jiqing wanted to marry her youngest son, but he had a bad temper. He wandered around all day and couldn't even talk about coal. And the youngest son is also making a fuss about marrying each other. After boiling the water in the kitchen, Yun Xiaoxiao filled a bottle with boiling water and then boiled it again, intending to give the two little ones a bath and wash their hair. They were so dirty that they made her stand in the eye. De Bao and Xiaoxiao, come and take a shower. After seeing off Zhao's mother, the two little ones wanted to sneak out and play when they suddenly heard their mother calling them to take a shower. The two little ones didn't go for a long time. We're not dirty, he said, but De Bao looked at his own little hands and his younger brother's small face, his eyes flickering a few times. It was very dirty. Hurry up, Yun Xiaoxiao suddenly raised her voice. The words reached the ears of the two little ones, and little Bao tightly grabbed Big Bao's clothes, his face full of fear. Brother! Together! Yun Xiaoxiao has already mixed the bucket with water, added cold water to the big pot, and added a handful of firewood. Carrying a bucket and a large bathtub, he came to the yard and said, "Hurry up and take a shower." Yun Xiaoxiao poured the mixed warm water into a large basin, turned around to get the soap, but couldn't find the soap, clothes, and towels. It seems that none of these are visible anywhere. There's no other choice but to purchase, just look for their clothes, they don't stand out, and it took a while to search for them before buying. This is soap and towel, can you wash it yourself? De Bao quickly nodded, he had already sat in the big basin and started bathing himself. Seeing that the children might not be able to wash thoroughly, Yun Xiaoxiao walked over to help them wash. However, she saw that there were still blue and purple marks on the backs and buttocks of the two children, as well as bamboo strips punched out one by one. When these two children saw her coming over, they were both tense and vigilant, looking at her. Yun Xiaoxiao looked at these marks and was dumbfounded. Although children are mischievous, these marks should have been caused in the past few days. Is it a female supporting role? No wonder the two children were so scared when they saw her, afraid that after the male lead left, they might be beaten and scolded by the female supporting character. After showering them, the two children turned much whiter, but they were still too thin, and the ribs on their stomachs and backs were too obvious. This is the new clothes made for you, along with these shoes. They are all clothes and shoes from the 1980s. The two little ones felt even more strange. After waking up today, my mother gave them delicious food, bathed them, and even dressed them in new clothes. Are you really leaving? This pair of rubber shoes, I'll change to wear them later. What would you like to eat tonight? Can't you even make this children's meal? Mom, I want to eat meat, Xiaoxiao whispered, not daring to look at Yun Xiaoxiao, afraid that his mother would hit them. He would say this, but seeing what his mother did this afternoon made him brave all of a sudden. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Can only buy once a day. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Can only buy once a day. Seeing Xiaobao's timid little face, there are two obvious Highland reds on his face, and his hair is slightly yellowish. Is chicken feasible? Not hitting him, but switching to a different type of meat. Okay. In the afternoon, Yun Xiaoxiao bought a chicken and stewed it with chestnuts. I also steamed a large bowl of rice. She really did her best. The two little ones didn't go out to play, but sat on small stools at the kitchen door, looking inside and outside. Brother, it smells so good. They are wearing new clothes and shoes, and they will have to eat chicken later. This day is not at all real. But as two brothers, each person gnawed on a big chicken leg and felt that it was true, the chicken was delicious. Even if the college entrance examination is resumed now, if one wants to eat meat, it is only during holidays that the family is willing to kill a chicken to eat. But nowadays, those who don't celebrate festivals or Chinese New Year can eat meat, which is completely unimaginable. Tomorrow we will go into the mountain to pick wild fruits. It's entirely because Xiaoxiao wants to know what kind of local wild fruits there are, afraid that the fruits he accidentally bought from his phone that day will be seen by someone, and if there are none in the local area, it will make people suspicious. It's really not easy to become a farmer woman who can fill her stomach. I still have to learn. There are wild boars in the mountains, which are very fierce. Dad usually doesn't let us enter the mountains. Perhaps it was because we had a full meal today and were still wearing warm clothes, and Dabao's courage increased. Do you have wild boars? It is still the late 1970s and has not yet entered the 1980s. You go to bed early. Mom, I'll help you wash the dishes. Washing dishes. Are you a little brat helping her wash dishes? That's great. Let the children get along with her more and let them know that she really won't hit children for no reason now. Xiao Bao also wanted to help, but Xiaoxiao and Dabao both refused. A child who is only a few years old knows how to wash dishes and is quite clean. Xiaoxiao bought a walking chicken from Pinxi Shi, weighing about 3 pounds, with some chestnuts added. There was still half left, rice, and a small bowl left, all of which were placed in the 5-bucket cabinet. Go to bed early. Xiaoxiao returned to the room and lay on the hard bed, looking at this Pinxi Shi app. There were many apps on her phone, but none of them could be opened. Only this Pinxi Shi app could be opened. She planned to buy some pork, but failed to place an order, which left her confused. Placing an order again, but still not successfully. What's going on? Can only buy one type of meat per day. Or is it a variety that can only be purchased once a day? She thought about the things she bought today, and indeed there were none of the same style. Buying clothes for Dabao and Xiao Bao is like buying one get one free. Dabao wears just right, while Xiao Bao needs to be bigger. Did you buy 2 pairs of shoes of the same style? Xiaoxiao didn't think through this purchase either. She quickly bought a solar charger, otherwise her phone would run out of battery and she wouldn't be able to make purchases. I planned to buy 2 sets of clothes for myself, and the purchase was successful. Does this make her feel strange? Can't buying the same item be too long apart? I can't figure it out. 2 sets of underwear, by the vest style. I just took all the clothes and went to wash them, and I don't want to wear the lingerie and underwear from the previous supporting women. Toothbrushes and underwear are personal items. Also helped wash out the clothes for the 2 children. Xiaoxiao took a glance at the 2 little ones, and through the window, she could see that they were already asleep. The next morning, Xiaoxiao was awakened by the sound of beating. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. No matter how bitter you are, you cannot bitter yourself. No matter how sweet you are, you cannot sweet your child. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. No matter how bitter you are, you cannot bitter yourself. No matter how sweet you are, you cannot sweet your child. I woke up and didn't want to move. When she sat up, I found that she hadn't put it back on. She is a supporting actress, she is a supporting actress. Get up and make breakfast. Boil eggs in boiling water, 1 for each person, and slightly heat up some milk. Heat up the small chicken stewed with chestnuts and rice that was not eaten yesterday. Mom. 2 small ones have already put on their clothes. 1 is 5 years old, 1 is 3 years old. Can you dress yourself now? Sure enough, children in rural areas are always early adopters. Go wash your hands, you'll be eating soon. Dabao took Xiao Bao, who was looking around, to wash his hands. Eat it. 1 person is another bowl of milk, 1 egg, chicken, and rice. It can be said that this breakfast is the top of the line for rural breakfast. Mom, keep the milk powder for you to drink, Xiaoxiao, and I don't need to drink it. It's about to expire, drink it all. Xiaoxiao is not like the older generation who leaves everything delicious for their children. No matter how bitter you are, you cannot bitter yourself. No matter how sweet you are, you cannot sweet your child. What is expiration? Bao is completely confused. In fact, Bao is still quite intelligent among his peers. This thing has a shelf life and cannot be eaten after it has passed. Otherwise, eating it will cause stomach pain, so we need to eat it quickly, otherwise we will have to throw it away if we can't finish it, which is a pity. Both the young ones understood this explanation. They no longer say they can't continue drinking milk. It's really so fragrant. But she didn't know that Xiaoxiao completely thought that milk and eggs are both calcium supplements, and that Bao and Xiaoxiao are so short, they must be lacking in calcium and zinc. Bao, let's go pick the vegetables later. She is the female supporting actress. Although she has some memories of the female supporting actress, she doesn't even remember small things. Okay. Originally, Bao and Xiaoxiao planned to go out with old shoes and clothes, but they didn't look for old shoes, only old clothes. Mom, our clothes. Just wear this outfit, let's hurry up and leave. What vegetables will be planted this winter? Is there any food left in the field? Xiaoxiao didn't even know that those vegetables were instant vegetables. Mom, we still have eggplants at home, and Dad also planted potatoes. I don't know if we can eat them now. Do you eat potatoes and eggplants at this time? Xiaoxiao didn't know and didn't dare to ask casually, afraid of exposing herself. Mom, lock the door. Xiaoxiao let out a laugh, searched for the key to lock the door, tossed and turned for a while, and prepared to go out. When he saw Bao carrying a vegetable basket, he suddenly remembered how to go out and pick vegetables without a basket. She is not as good as a child as an adult. Mom. Just a few steps outside, a child saw Bao and Xiaoxiao's new clothes and shoes and immediately shouted, Bao and Xiaoxiao, did your mother make new clothes for you? In this era, anyone who is seen wearing new clothes will ask, and many people will envy it. Yes, the new clothes my mother made for me look really nice. Bao immediately put them on display. These are the shoes my mother made for us, they are very warm. Xiaoxiao also chattered away. Xiaoxiao's mouth twitched a few times as she watched this one after another. However, the gaze fell on those few children, wearing patched clothes, pants that were even short, and some even wore grass shoes on their feet. They were all very thin, with dark skin, and any finger was like chicken claws. Bao, Xiaoxiao, your mother is really kind to you. They can only wear new clothes during the Chinese New Year. Just as the scene of harmony was still unfolding, suddenly a child about 6 or 7 years old ran over and said, Bao, your mother beat you a few days ago and won't give you food. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Male lead Zhao Tianlei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Male lead Zhao Tianlei. Hey, I'm standing here alone at my age, yet you're saying bad things about me. Am I a tree? Bao, Xiaoxiao, we're leaving. Just as Bao gave the child a fierce glare and was about to argue, he heard a gentle voice coming from beside him. Mom, let's go. Bao and Xiaoxiao followed behind Xiaoxiao and left this place of conflict. A few children were left behind, and when they saw the last one, they quickly dispersed. But this matter quickly spread out. The village is just so big, and many things can be passed on to everyone without needing to wait until the afternoon. Bao and Xiaoxiao are wearing new clothes. Xiaoxiao still didn't know about these things, as the third mother and son headed towards their private plots, not far from their residence. Mom, this is our land. I often bring my younger brother to pull grass. Although Bao is 5 years old, he hasn't gone to school yet. Nowadays, children who study only start school at the age of 7 or 8. It's pretty good. This side is warm for picking vegetables, but the other side is not as warm anymore. Third brother, we're going to make a big profit this time, said a young man with some dark skin to a healthy and handsome man next to him. These three brothers, also known as the male lead Zhao Tianlei, are the third in line, standing at 1.8 meters tall. Even wearing simple clothes, they cannot be underestimated. Third brother, is sister.in.law still bothering you? Another young man said to Zhao Tianlei, who was Zhao Tianhe, the grandson of Zhao Tianlei's grandparents. To be honest, when my sister.in.law went to the countryside, she suddenly became the most beautiful female educated youth in the academy, and my third brother had no problem liking her at first glance. But after Yun Jiqing married his third brother, although they split up, their family of 4 still lived a good life. But who knew that once the college entrance examination was resumed, my sister.in.law failed to pass it twice and started to argue with my third brother, scolding him and my 2 nephews. After this autumn harvest, they came out to earn money, which is also dangerous. San Gu was also injured once. She wants to go back to the city. He can understand that he doesn't want to continue staying in the countryside. City life is more convenient. It's not convenient to go out on rainy days in rural areas, and it's also inconvenient to buy things in the cold winter. Third brother, I think you should take your child and sister.in.law back to see her sister.in.law's family together. After all, sister.in.law has never gone back to the countryside before, and it's inevitable that she misses home. This person is weaker in body, about 1.7 meters tall. His parents passed away, and he lived with his grandmother. He only went to junior high school and didn't have the money to continue his studies, but he is smarter. He is the military strategist Fang Chaoyang next to the male lead. After we sell this batch of goods, you can buy some things that city girls use to soothe your sister.in.law, Fang Chaoyang continued. The young man who was the first to speak up was Chao Dali. His grandfather fled to the brigade and married a girl from our brigade, settling in the brigade. Yes, I think it works. I gave my partner Tsuehua a headscarf before, and she was particularly happy. Zhao Tianhe and Fang Chaoyang both took a deep look at Chao Dali, who was tightly controlled by his partner. Zhao Tianlei thought it had been half a month since leaving home, and he didn't know if she had calmed down. Wait for him to go back and buy her more things to coax her. But when they went out to sell goods, they encountered people who wanted to provoke them, and Zhao Tianlei was not afraid of having too many of them. A few people come up and do it. This scene has happened several times already. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. This idea is quite dangerous. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. This idea is quite dangerous. Zhao Family Village Brigade. Yun Xiaoxiao was looking down at the potato seedlings and couldn't dig them yet. It seemed like the potatoes hadn't grown yet when she heard someone calling her. She is a woman in her 20s. What's up? I don't know each other. After all, in this book, she is a supporting actress, but many people are just passers-by and have no names at all, not even those who make soy sauce. Yun Xiaoxiao, don't you want to go back to the city? Back to the city. If it's a female supporting character, it's crazy to want to return to the city. This is the female supporting character in the author's writing. If it's not the female supporting character who insists on returning to the city, then what happens to the female lead? Can this book continue to be written? Zhang Jiqing de Bao stopped in front of Yun Xiaoxiao and looked at the woman in front of him, shouting loudly. Zhang Jiqing is also a rural educated youth, but she is not as lucky as Yun Xiaoxiao. She has 2 daughters and is not favored by her husband's family. The college entrance examination has been resumed, and her husband's family also prohibits her from taking the exam, fearing that she will pass. After returning to the city, she will not come back again. This educated youth is currently working and only came over when he saw Yun Xiaoxiao here. As both educated youth, Yun Xiaoxiao married the son of the team captain and gave birth to 2 sons in a row. Her man also refused to let her work in the fields. Unlike her, after getting married, she still worked in the fields and gave birth to 2 daughters. She was not favored by her husband's family, and men became increasingly impatient with her. I want to go back to the city. Dabao, your mother is from the city, and she will eventually return to the city. One day, she will leave you behind. Yun Xiaoxiao did not stop the ordinary-looking Zhang Jiqing in front of her from saying, besides stirring up discord, what else would she do? Staring at her with jealous eyes. Whether or not I go back to the city has nothing to do with Zhang Jiqing. You should be working, right? If you don't work yet, what are you doing with me? The man you found is not up to par and cannot let you enjoy it. You still have the face to envy others. There are many people who live better than me, and you plan to envy them one by one. Jokes, if she can sit in the position of director, it's not a soft persimmon. Zhang Jiqing was extremely angry. He had intended to ridicule Yun Xiaoxiao, but instead he became angry with himself. I'm fine. Zhang Jiqing glared at Yun Xiaoxiao and left in a bad mood. Mom, let's go home. Someone bullied Mom outside. Not to mention that Dabao and Xiao Bao were taught well by Zhao Tianlei, the father, to let their brothers protect Yun Xiaoxiao, who is a mother. Okay. Picked a few eggplants and chili peppers, it's time to go home. This private plot is not very large, only a few dozen square meters. Mom, Zhang Jiqing bullied you. I'll go help you bully her daughter later. As soon as these words were spoken, Yun Xiaoxiao's smile stiffened instantly. How did Dabao have this idea? This idea is quite dangerous. No, her daughter didn't bully me. Yun Xiaoxiao looked at them and said, you guys go play. Come back early for lunch. Dabao and Xiao Bao wanted to go out and play, but their mother didn't agree, so they worked with their mother. Okay. Yun Xiaoxiao carried a vegetable basket home and met many ants along the way, all of whom looked at her with strange eyes. Yun Xiaoxiao couldn't figure it out and was grateful that her private area was not far from home. Otherwise, she would have been stared at all the way, which made her feel very uncomfortable. Watching her remain silent, when she leaves, she whispers her disapproval, leaving her speechless. I finally got home, closed the door, carried the basket to the kitchen, and then went back to my room to see the charging phone, the solar charger, which was almost charging the phone. End of this chapter.